This is what a narcissist does to the new supply when they lose you forever. You see, a lot of these narcissists, they already know. Deep down, they know that you're gone for good. They've realized, sometimes too late, that there's nothing they can do to pull you back. Psychologists describe this as a crucial moment in narcissistic behavior. When the supply slips away and the manipulator loses control, it triggers intense frustration, confusion, and even rage. They've tried everything, they've provoked you, they've baited you, they've hoovered you back in every imaginable way. Some of you might remember the reverse hoover, the long stretches of silence designed to lure you out of your safe space. This is classic narcissistic manipulation. And yet, here you are, evolving, healing, moving forward. Even if you're not fully there yet, psychologists emphasize that this is a process. Narcissistic abuse recovery is not linear. It's a series of small awakenings that slowly build into resilience. And this is where the narcissist begins a new, almost desperate tactic. They try to convert their new supply into a mirror of you. Think about it, at the start of your relationship, they tried to mold you subtly into someone who fit their past patterns, someone who replicated the traits of previous supplies. This is a documented behavior in narcissistic studies. They attempt to replicate past successes, forcing new victims into familiar molds, whether through clothing, behavior, or emotional responsiveness. Here's the striking psychological insight: they fail. They fail because no one else is you. Every person has a unique upbringing, values, and sense of self. The new supply cannot replicate your authenticity, your morals, your natural energy, or the way you carry yourself. Narcissists are blinded by this. They cannot fathom that the power you held over them wasn't theirs to wield. They thought it was manipulation all along, that you stayed because of their cunning, their calculated charm. But now, the mirror cracks. They realize they lost a genuine soul, a jewel, an authentic self that cannot be manufactured or replaced. Psychologists explain this as narcissistic supply shock. When the narcissist encounters a new person who resists shaping, who cannot be molded into a copy of a previous source, it challenges their entire worldview. They are forced to confront the reality that they are not, in fact, the center of the universe. That's why you may notice a growing frustration in them, subtle or overt, as they attempt, and fail, to force the new supply into your likeness. It's not just irritation, it's the narcissist grappling with the unbearable truth that control is not absolute, that influence is not infinite, and that genuine authenticity cannot be replaced with manipulation. During this phase, they may still try to keep tabs on you. They'll watch from a distance, curious, perhaps even envious, because you're moving forward while they remain trapped in a cycle of frustration and illusion. Research in trauma psychology shows that narcissists maintain a monitoring behavior over former sources of supply, not out of care, but out of obsession and fixation on what they've lost. The healthy person, however, no longer provides any emotional oxygen, no reaction, no engagement, which is exactly what breaks the cycle. Here's the critical takeaway: you no longer need their validation. Any attempt at a hoover or recognition is irrelevant. Psychologists call this a shift from external validation to self-validation, a fundamental stage of recovery. When you stop responding, when you continue moving in your own lane, you are not only protecting yourself but asserting psychological independence. Your silence is not weakness, it's power. It communicates far more than words ever could. The narcissist now understands, often painfully, that you are truly gone and that their influence over you is over. So keep moving. Heal. Grow. Let them fumble in frustration while you thrive. Remember, no matter how they try to twist reality or manipulate those around them, your energy, your resilience, your authenticity cannot be replicated. Psychologists describe this as reclaiming your locus of control. You are no longer a pawn in their game. You are the author of your own story. Let them stew in their awakening while you continue ascending. This is the ultimate truth. The narcissist can try to rewrite reality, to co-opt new supplies, to mimic past successes, but they can never be you. And you, in your evolved, healed, empowered self, are untouchable. You see, the more you move into your own lane after surviving narcissistic abuse, the more you begin to realize something profound. Everything that happened, was meant to be. Psychologists describe this as post-traumatic growth, a stage where survivors begin to see the meaning and purpose behind the pain, where clarity emerges from chaos. And here's the stark contrast. The narcissist has none of this foresight. They don't pause and reflect, wow, this actually worked out for the better. No, they are trapped in the endless loop of their ego, obsessively preoccupied with the fact that you are now thriving without them. This is why the moment of being discarded becomes one of the greatest blessings. Psychologists explain that narcissists tend to overplay their hand. They push, they provoke, they manipulate, hoping you will chase, hoping you will reconcile. But when you don't, when you fully step into your own life, they are left bewildered, frustrated, and powerless. Their manipulations fail because they cannot comprehend a world where their control no longer reigns. And now, as the narcissist turns to a new supply, you witness the same old patterns unfolding, but with inevitable failure. Psychologists note that narcissists attempt to mold new sources of supply into replicas of their past victims. They try to shape behaviors, appearances, even personalities, in subtle and insidious ways, believing that repetition will restore their lost sense of power. But it never works. The new supply may struggle, cry, even rebel. They are not you. Each person is shaped by their own upbringing, experiences, and values. They cannot be molded into someone else's shadow, no matter how skillful the manipulator believes they are. Sometimes the new supply is genuine, and they will eventually awaken to the truth, just as you did. Other times, the narcissist gravitates toward toxic individuals, because toxic dynamics tend to attract one another. Psychologists call this the cycle of dysfunctional mirroring. One toxic personality attempts to dominate another, creating a relationship fueled by manipulation, control, and mutual deception. These relationships may appear intense, even passionate at first, but ultimately, they are unstable and damaging, because both parties are projecting, both are manipulating, and both are blind to the truth of themselves. Meanwhile, you are free. You've gone your own way, found your own lane, and embraced your power. Psychologists emphasize that reclaiming your autonomy is the cornerstone of recovery. It is not egotistical to recognize your worth. It is self-respect. Anyone who leaves your life, whether friend, lover, or partner, has lost the blessing of your presence. You are the constant, the authentic, the source of light, and the narcissist, for all their scheming, cannot replicate that. And here's the final piece of the puzzle. Spend time alone. Reflection is essential. As therapists note, the period of solitude after abuse allows for introspection, realignment, and the consolidation of your boundaries. This is where true empowerment begins. You reclaim your identity, your energy, your focus. You no longer bend to manipulation, no longer chase validation, no longer allow the ghost of a narcissist to influence your path. So, look at your life now. The narcissist may still fume, may still attempt to manipulate their new supply, may still wonder why you are not following the script they wrote for you, but you are untouchable. You have healed, you have grown, and you are thriving. Psychologists call this the triumph of resilience. When the victim becomes the victor, when the manipulated becomes the master of their own destiny. Remember, it's not your loss, it's theirs. And the more you embrace this truth, the more empowered, fulfilled, and unshakable you become. I had a session recently with someone who shared something that really struck me, and I want to acknowledge you here. They said they entered a new relationship, thinking things might be different, but it turned out it was worse. Another narcissist. This is not unusual. Psychologists have noted again and again that victims of narcissistic abuse often encounter this pattern. Because the psyche is still healing, and because boundaries haven't been fully reinforced, the same type of manipulative behavior can appear in new partners. It's not your fault. It's part of the cycle of trauma and discernment that we, as survivors, must navigate. Think about it. There is no point giving to someone else when you haven't cultivated anything for yourself. Psychologists describe this as emotional depletion. When you give all your energy, love, and purpose to another person, especially a narcissist, there's nothing left for you. You cannot channel your entire life's essence into someone else and expect a happily ever after to magically appear. The concept of the soulmate, the perfect other half, it's seductive, but it's largely a myth in today's world. Dysfunction, manipulation, and emotional corruption have distorted this ideal. Even if the universe did craft two souls for one another, the reality of our social and emotional environments means these bonds are rarely intact. This is why your journey now has to be about you. Psychologists call this individuation, the process of developing a strong, authentic sense of self apart from anyone else. It's about finding the light within yourself, cultivating your purpose, and becoming emotionally, spiritually, and mentally fulfilled. Only then can you engage with others with discernment. Only then can you set boundaries that protect your energy, your time, and your heart. Only then can you identify genuine souls, authentic people who will resonate with your vibration, rather than drain it. And here's where it gets even more revealing about the narcissist's patterns. Right now, the narcissist's life is centered on trying to transform their new supply into a copy of you. Psychologists refer to this as mirroring manipulation. The narcissist attempts to mold the new person into a version of their former target, replicating your traits, your morals, your way of being. Someone even commented today that they saw the new supply imitating them, copying the exact gestures, behaviors, and attitudes that once belonged to them. This is not just coincidence. This is deliberate, calculated, and sick. The narcissist is crafting the new supply into a reflection of you because they cannot handle the authenticity and integrity that you once represented. It's a chilling reminder of just how manipulative and insidious these people can be. Every aspect of their new relationships is built off the shadow of you. The gossip, the drama, the projection, the control, all of it recycled, all of it repurposed in an attempt to replace what they lost. Psychologists describe this as an extension of their narcissistic supply chain. They are constantly seeking energy, validation, and control, and if the original source is gone, they attempt to manufacture a new one. So here's the truth. The narcissist will never replicate you. They can try, they can manipulate, they can contort someone new into your likeness, but it will always fail. The new supply will always be their own person, with their own limits, their own morals, and eventually, their own awakening. Meanwhile, you have moved on. You are healing. You are building, growing, thriving, and that is where your power lies. So, thank you for listening today. Thank you for showing up, for being part of this journey, and for reclaiming your power. Every step you take in your lane, every boundary you reinforce, every moment of self-love, it's a victory. Remember, the narcissist may try to imitate, manipulate, or rebuild what they lost, but they will never touch the authenticity, the light, the strength that is uniquely yours.